Okay, this is group 2, and I'm going to be talking about alcoholism and the effects it has on the residents of the colonias or Las Colonias in Zavala County, Texas. The members of group 2 are myself, Fumi, Dora Chavez, Miguel Canyo, and Donald Birch. I'm going to be talking about the structure of the society and some background information about its residents. So Las Colonias is a census designated place. It's located in Zavala County, Texas. It's right on the bottom, South Texas, almost in Mexico. And so the closeness to the border means that there are a lot of, it's a mostly Hispanic society. It's almost predominantly Hispanic. And there are a lot of immigrants from Mexico. This also means that a lot of people just cross the border and they don't have any kind of legal documentation, as you might know or as you might suspect. This limits their options as far as job opportunities or, receiving any kind of social aid like food stamps or Medicaid, Medicare, as the case may be. So its population, according to the 2000 census, there were 283 residents in 76 households. 68 families, like I said previously, is mostly Hispanic. 80% of the residents are married couples who live together under the same roof. Average household size was 3.72 people. I'm sorry. So this is probably a man and his wife and his two children, or maybe a man and his wife and maybe his parents that live with them, or a man and his wife, his one kid and his mother. I don't know, something like that. Just so 37% of the people of the residents were under the age of 18. 8.5% were aged between 18 and 24. 27.6% were aged between 25 and 44. 14.5% between 45 and 64, and 12.7% were aged 65 and older. So here it's mostly children below the age of 18, and then middle-aged people between 25 and 44. Basically, the people that work for the money, I guess, in the society. This is just another visual aid. Shows the population by age. Like you can see there, the biggest quadrant is the children and the working folks. Money matters. In 2000, their per capita income was $11,754. Measure of their productivity, $11,000. 37% of families in the colonias and 42% of their population in general were below the poverty line. Their median household income in Zavala County as a whole was $16,844, and the median family income was $19,418. Just to compare a little bit, the median household income for the U.S. in that year was about $50,000. So that's more than 3 times the median household income here. So just to compare, you know, where they are as far as the poverty line goes. Males had a median income almost double the females, $22,000 versus $14,500. Just as always, that was expected. A survey was conducted between 2002 and 2003 that studied the drinking habits and alcohol rates of alcohol dependence of subjects from El Paso, the Lower Rio Grande Valley in South Texas, and the rural colonias in South Texas. As you might expect, these are all border cities, and so they all have immigrants coming in, probably people that don't have much legal documentation again. And so the issues here, or they're comparable communities, the issues here should be the same, roughly. So these were compared, and just some of the effects of alcoholism, assuming that there was alcoholism in the colonias, will be family stress and emotional stress for the family members of the person using the alcohol. Because just imagine, you come back home from work, you're all tired and whatnot, to a husband that has been drinking and he's all mad, yelling at you, can't remember what he said yesterday. That's quite, a bit of stress for the family. Also, a lot of financial stress, especially because there's not much money in this community. So for them to take all this money and then be buying alcohol rather than paying bills that they could, that they need to be paying is quite a bit. And it just feeds the cycle because they're buying alcohol rather than paying their bills, and then they're gonna go drink more alcohol because they can't afford to pay the bills, and then it's just all a mess. Some of the health outcomes that come with being an alcoholic, I guess, are increased risk of heart disease and stroke, liver inflammation, stomach problems, nutritional deficiencies, which show up in all kinds of random places in your body, neurological problems, erectile dysfunction, even birth defects if you're female and you're drinking when you're pregnant. Here are some of the questions that we hope to answer in this presentation. Are the Colonias residents more dependent on drugs and alcohol than other Hispanics in comparable communities? Here, that would be El Paso and the Lower Rio Grande Valley. How much more dependent on drugs and alcohol are they than these other people in these other communities? What are the risk factors for this behavior? What are the things that would make people go out and drink? And what are some other things that might make them think twice or abstain from drinking or minimize their rate of drinking? What are some policy changes that can be made to reduce alcohol abuse and dependence? And are there health services that can be put in place to help them? And if so, what are these health services? I'm going to turn over now to Miguel, who's going to talk about the survey that was conducted. And then Dora is going to talk about, the risk factors and barriers that are relevant in this situation. And Donald's going to talk about some policy changes. Well, he's going to talk about existing policy, and then he's going to talk about some policy changes that can be made. And then I'll just come back and wrap it all up. Alrighty.